Welcome to the Bergara War, proudly sponsored by the Players' Entrance at Covent Garden Cafe and the Royal Oak Edgeley.
Oh, great flick up by Alan Armstrong.
Evening all, it's 7 p.m. on a predetermined Thursday. That can only mean one thing. No, it's not Emmerdale, it's a brand new episode of the Bergara War, the county podcast by the fans, for the fans. Now, it's a bit of a rejig lineup tonight. I'm Nick Lee, and as ever I'm joined by Russ Johnson. Now, Dave Espley's having a well-deserved night off, so we thought it'd be the ideal time to introduce one of our two new signings. And one of them is going to have the chance to make an immediate impact tonight. Welcome to the show, and welcome to the team, Dave Long. You right, Dave?
Yeah, evening chaps. Thanks for inviting me.
Good to have you on board. Now Russ, why don't you tell us a bit more about this signing?
The podcast is growing, and we need to get more team members, more good team members on board. So we thought, I thought it was a good idea to stretch into blogging, and I know David, just through following on Twitter, had done a bit in the past and whatnot. So I thought I'd ask him to do that, and he's gladly accepted. And I'm really glad you have, Dave, because the blogs you've put out so far have been really, really good.
Yeah.
So we've got Dave on the blog, and we've also got Pete Wilson on YouTube. So all of our old episodes will be going onto YouTube, so they're there to consume forever. I think it's forever on YouTube, and also we might move into video stuff as well in the coming weeks, months, and possibly years. So watch this space on that one. But yeah, Dave Long blog, Pete Wilson on YouTube. So that adds to the existing team. So it is growing, and the last normal podcast we did, so not Dark Days, the last standard one, got over 2,200 streams.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, which is that's our record, and that's not with having a player on, and that's just that's really good. So it's time to move with the times, and it sort of fits in nicely to what is happening at the club as well. So shall we move into that?
Yes. So we've met Dave. We'll hear lots more from Pete next episode, because we're going to be analysing his county documentary, The Fall of Blue, which he did in 2015. So we'll be looking at that next episode and seeing how things have changed. I mean, there's a few people, a few talking heads on there. I'm on there, Jamie Summers, who a lot of people know, and Phil Brennan as well. So it'd be very interesting to see how things have changed in those 5 years.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It came out not long before Jim came back. So there's obviously been changes on and off the pitch since then. So it'd be interesting to see if the things that we said we wanted from the football club are actually starting to happen. So we'll be coming to that next episode. But in the meantime, it's been a massive week for County. So I suggest we crack on and start with the branding video, the new brand video. The first I heard of this, the aforementioned Pete Wilson, he received a message from one of Mark Stott's team a couple of months back, basically saying they were doing a brand video and they wanted to use some of Pete's footage from the documentary we just spoke about. So obviously recognised a fair bit of that footage popping up in the video. What do we think of it overall?
Yeah, it's great. It's really feel good, isn't it? Yeah, it's really professional. Yeah, modern. Just great, isn't it? These are the kind of things that other clubs do, aren't they? County don't do this kind of thing, so it's really refreshing. Really, really good to see.
Exactly, it's always the type of thing. I won't say I've been against it, but it's always seemed when they talk about the brand and stuff like that, it's one of them phrases that always used to make my shit itch.
Yeah,
I just hear someone say, "Oh, what about the brand? What about the brand?" I just think, "Oh, shut the fuck up." But then, yeah, having seen that, I just can't argue. There's not a single moment in it where I just think, "Oh no, this is rubbish." I'm fully on board. I'm a brand bitch now. That's it.
I think you've got to. I think if you're going to be serious and you need to propel the club into a more professional direction, which we do, don't we?
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing you've got to do. You can't not do it. That kind of brand brand change and brand sort of. It's sort of concreting the brand into it and taking it forward. I know we're going to talk about the badge after the branding video, but I think the badge sort of epitomises the brand in a way. And we'll come to that again. But do you know what? Do you know what really pleased me? That and I don't know why, but Michelle Keegan's doing the voiceover. Now I'm not. I don't
Please in what way, Ross?
In a way that, well, in many ways actually, no, but in a way that well, she's really famous, isn't she? She's pretty famous in this country.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite a coup to get somebody like her to do a voiceover for our 3-minute video.
The downside to that though is the number of people online saying, "Oh, I can't wait to see her at a game," and the vast majority of the people saying that aren't allowed within 100 feet of women anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to get out of seeing her at a game.
And she won't do. So she won't.
No, I mean, she's a City fan, I believe.
There you go, then.
Well, that's it. I didn't know she was a City fan, but I was pretty certain she wasn't a Stockport County fan, even though she mentioned it in is it Our Girl?
That's right, yeah.
TV program. So it's not about her being a county fan. I'm not interested if she is or she isn't. It was more about them. It's almost like we can afford to get Michelle Keegan to do our voiceover because they would have had to have paid for that.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't they? And otherwise, it'd have been, I don't know, Daz Sampson or someone. Maybe. I don't know. They might have got you, Nick.
Daz Sampson or David Dickinson.
Yeah.
Yes. Should have been David Dickinson, shouldn't it?
Yeah, they've missed a step there. Yeah, they've properly messed it up.
Yvette Fielding, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I thought it was nice and refreshing, and the video itself. I mean, some of the phrases that they use, and sure you can remember more than I can from the video, but some of the phrases they use are bang on.
Yeah, I think custodians, not owners, was the big one for me. It's. I think they've come in the new regime and they've done the research. They know what the club means to the fans, what the club should be doing in terms of community stuff in the town. Which I think we talk about the community stuff pretty much every episode, which I think shows just how important it is to us.
I noticed that. There was a good chunk of that video was focusing on sort of grassroots kids football and that, and the whole experience. From kids right up to fans, going every day, every game. Yeah, there's a big chunk of that, and that for me that really stood out because they seem to be really on board with the community stuff, and that really stood out from that video.
So I don't think we've seen a single misstep from the new owners yet. I think everything has been positive. You'd normally expect. I think that moves us on to the badge because I know a lot of people saw it floating around on social media a few weeks back.
Yeah.
And there was a fair bit of dissent early on, but I think in the context of the brand video, I don't really have as much of an issue with it as I originally did when I first saw it. I think it works.
Yeah, I think the only thing for me, or maybe there's two things from my point of view, and I'm really splitting hairs when I say this. So don't Yellowboard don't have a meltdown if he's even called Yellowboard anymore. But we've got 1883 twice on the badge.
Yeah, I thought they could have put Animo Fide somewhere.
Yeah, or put the little cross, or maybe. But I know that's a religious thing, isn't it? So maybe they didn't want to do that. I don't even know if they thought about that or not. But yeah, it says 1883 twice, and I've got to update my bloody sign now on the county arms.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
I realised tonight. Cheers, Dave.
I mean, when you mentioned about putting the cross on the badge and the religious connotations of it, I think we need to remember that this is a club where people saw their asses about having a flag to commemorate one of our best ever managers. An Irish flag behind the railway end, and the club caved to the pressure, and so I think anything it's just going to kick off if there's going to be people whinging. So I think it's the right decision in the end. But yeah, like you said, the 1883 being duplicated on there is pretty much the only thing I can find fault with, really.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, when you
I-
start redesigning the badge, you kind of I want this to sound, you kind of want it as inoffensive as possible, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's with with the cross and everything, and maybe even the Latin on it as well. You might want to stay clear of that. I mean, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind either of those being on there, but yeah, I can see why they've done it. It's kind of inoffensive, and it's a bit of a minefield whenever you touch anything as sacred as that to a football club. But I think they've done all right with it. It looks okay. It's a bit Rochdale, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
There's
It
worse
is a bit
clubs it could
Rochdale.
look like. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look that bad. Like you say, the 1883 twice on it. I mean, surely someone should have noticed that. 'Cause
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that brings us on to the kits because I think having seen the badge in the context of on the kit, I think it looks fantastic on there, especially the black one on the
I was going to say that. Yeah,
I'll
looks
give you
really
that. Yeah,
cool.
I
It's sort of
noticed
blacked
that
out one.
with the same colour. Looks really good. That.
I just hope these kits they do normal men's sizes and not the athlete sizes.
No, it should be. No, I think if you're not slim enough to play football, you shouldn't be wearing a replica shirt. I'm sorry. Our decision's final.
Is that you saying that? Because I've seen you in a replica shirt, Nick.
Yeah, retro, mate. I'm just thinking
right.
of the sweaty blokes in pubs, to be honest, as I often do. Gives me an extra 2 minutes.
And you're absolutely not one of those.
Oh
Absolutely.
no, I'm the complete opposite.
Okay. A quite dry bloke who's teetotal.
Absolutely, yeah. That's me all over.
Yeah.
If my girlfriend asks, it is anyway. Yeah.
But yeah,
What do you do?
they've done all right. Done all right with the kids. I mean, I don't really know what everyone was expecting.
I know, yeah.
It's kit.
It reminds me. It reminds me of when like there's cup draws and we get Hartlepool away and they go, oh, it's a shit draw, and I'm thinking, who do you want? Brazil? It's the same with a kit. It's what are you expecting? What are you expecting with a kit? It's going to be what the stock kit that they have with our badge on it, and that's it. We're not going to get a bespoke kit like the Premier League teams do.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it's the same template as 99% of the rest of the Puma kits, which is fine. I mean, I'm really not hard.
Yeah.
Only one slight gripe I have with it, and I have it with every single one since about 1999, is it's not blue and white vertical stripes.
Yeah, I'd like us to go back to that. Yeah.
So, but I say it every time, so no one's listening.
Yeah.
So.
clearly. Well, what we might do now, we've given you a platform, so
Yeah,
you never know.
that's a good point, actually.
They might chuck all them kits out, burn the club shop down, and bring a new one out just for you.
If you're listening,
we can't
Scott, get the bird shit cleaned off the seats as well.
Our bird shit correspondent, Dave Long, there.
Don't get me started. It's not. I could be here all day.
Back to us in the studio.
I still don't think we're going to be at Edgeley Park for a very long time, in all honesty.
No, I don't think so.
So that's a lot of bird shit.
That's a lot, isn't it? Yeah, I mean,
because I've noticed birds aren't self-isolating.
especially
they're
the
out
the ones that are nesting in the rafters of the Cheadle end that shit on my seat. Yeah.
Well, didn't they used to have? There used to be like a plastic bird hanging, like Kez on Bo Selector. You used to have one of them, but I don't know what happened. Mind you, you don't want to be the poor sod who's got to go and put that up and take it down, do you?
They don't do it every.
You won't want to be cleaning the bird shit up either. Clearly, they don't want to.
No. They don't put that up and take it down every match, Nick. It just stays up,
Well, I think it got taken down after Kevin Francis left for the second time. So there's no. I think he was the one who was putting it up there and taking it down.
What did he take it with him? It's like a memento.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah. He's got it on the front of his horse. But he's not pleased, like the Jaguar thing.
Yeah, we couldn't afford an engraved carriage clock for you, so here's that bird from the Cheadle End full of bird shit.
There's worse things to be gifted.
Yeah. I noticed Big Kev tweeted, didn't he, saying he fancied a couple of those shirts, the new shirts, which
John Kieran sorted him out.
Oh, has he? Good. Because I've never seen any player tweet to say, I'll have a couple of shirts. Have you?
I'd hope that the current squad are sorting out shirts for themselves. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit embarrassing on the first day of whenever we play, and they've not got a shirt. So I'm hoping they're sorting them out for themselves. But I'd imagine they can just do that through the club rather than going on Twitter.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, unless that's the process. Right, lads, get your shirt sizes in. Just tweet me.
Yeah. There's weirder things that have happened at County, to be fair.
Well, yeah.
And on that note, Dark Days Parts 1 to 5 are all available on the Scarf Bergara War YouTube channel.
They are, yes. It's yeah, they are. It's just really, and if you haven't listened to it before, people, honestly, get on that. Start at number 1, obviously, or number 4, as some people did, and then sort of backtrack like in a weird Star Wars kind of way. But yeah, get on to number 1. Honestly, it's the best 12 hours of your life.
It's just mental, isn't it?
And we will be doing Dark Days Part 6. Not sure when yet, because we're into a different era with that now. So Phil Brennan has now left the club in that series. So really, we need someone who was in and close to the club during that time. So we'll have a think.
Well, I think if you're listening and you know someone who fits that description, or you yourself fit that description, then get in touch and we can move forward with that series as soon as possible.
As a Tory, whenever I'm down in London and I find myself short of quail's eggs, I head down to Covent Garden to replenish my stock. And if I want eggs in Stockport, I head to @Covent Garden.
94 Lower Hillgate in the heart of Stockport Old Town. Come and visit at Covent Garden for quality breakfast and lunch, fantastic coffee, cakes, light snacks, and above all, a friendly place with great service. Open match days.
See, I did an article on that whole period, for the Football Pink. Yeah, not that one. And they published it. Now, I'd written about loads and loads of stuff, loads of different topics, world football, European football, all sorts, but I'd never written about County. And it just kind of popped into my head one day, as these things kind of do. I write about some random stuff and wrote this stupidly beastly article. It was about 8,000 words, and I managed to chop it down a bit. Published it on there, marvellous. And someone shared it on Yellowboard, and I was absolutely roundly slagged off for writing this. Yeah, and this is a couple of years back. I thought it was great. I always check, my sources, my facts and everything, and, I thought it was really good. Residents of Yellowboard thought otherwise, and then I thought, at that point, I'm never writing about County ever again, because just people just absolutely really slag me off. Now, all my work's on various websites and stuff, and I get bits of feedback, and mostly positive. The odd dickhead. But yeah, that was the only article I've ever written out of about 200 that actually just didn't get one positive comment. Everyone just slugging me off.
When I first started posting the Dark Days episodes links on Yellowboard, there was a few people saying, "Well, why have you got the same people on every episode? We're only seeing it from their point of view." So, well, but believe it or not, the Gibbons didn't fancy coming on. The Gibbons didn't fancy it. Ryan McKnight didn't fancy it. But at the end of the day, we've got a consistency with Phil Brennan of being so close to everything that happened for the whole period. Hence the fact it was on. And I think he's been fantastic on the series, Phil Brennan. Some of the insight. I mean, I remember listening to episode 1 and thinking, "Oh, this is mental. How much weirder can it get?" Well.
A lot.
Episodes 2 through 5, and we're just in the McKnight era now with the next episode. So yeah, it's bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So forever grateful to Phil for giving us that insight, and Dave Schofield as well. Dave's going to stay on because I know he stuck around, didn't he? So Dave's going to stay on. I'm there just
Nice
to
one.
facilitate and chip in every now and again. And basically, I'm there to press record and stop. I think. But I'm quite happy doing that.
You did very well though, Russ.
Oh, cheers, mate.
Yeah.
My fingers killing me, honestly. So that'll continue. Just going back to the badge though. I know, Dave. You just mentioned Rochdale a bit. It's a bit Rochdale, didn't you?
I know, but who gives a shit? It's a badge, isn't it?
I know, but it's a bit. It's not just Rochdale though, is it? It's a bit Mac. It's a bit Brentford.
Halifax.
Halifax have gone round, haven't they? And I just think when I heard that and I looked at those other badges, I just thought, well, yeah, okay, but that they've obviously thought ahead and they've gone back to round like City did. City went back to round straight away, didn't they?
Yeah, controversial opinion. I do like City's round badge.
Yeah, but they had that in the past, didn't they? And then they came back. So
that's right.
I like it as well. I like it. There's just something about the round emblem, the round badge that I don't quite like.
It. Yeah.
I mean, I quite like the round one we had. I mean, it's slightly before my time, but the round one we had with the football. I think we used it as our logo for the podcast quite early on.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
I like that one.
The one we had in my first season, as I had 89, 90, that one.
That's the one with the football in it. Yeah,
it's a bit 80s, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly better than 96, 97.
Oh, fucking hell. I could have designed a better one than that. Jesus.
Oh, my word. Absolutely
fucking terrible one.
I like that one.
Shut up.
But I did, yeah. No, I liked it. But the round one with the football in it. I know you say it's 80s, but that's why I had that for the first podcast logo, because it's just retro, innit?
Yeah.
I stuck some headphones on it. I thought, because I even knew then that the round badge was the future. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's why ours is round now. You see, I'm not part of the branding team, but they could have asked me.
They could have asked, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'd say I don't mind it. It's okay. It's a badge. I don't really give a shit. One other gripe, yeah, because I mentioned a little gripe about the stripes on the kit. This one is that we do tend to piss about with the badge a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't mean completely redesigning it, but we do every 3 years. There's always something different about it, isn't there?
Yeah, I remember. Was it about? I think it might have been post admin, but there was a badge with I don't know how much someone had been paid to put this clip art football on there, but it looked utterly shocking. The football that they'd put onto this badge just looked totally at odds with the rest of it. It was very strange.
Where did that come? Why? I never really understood that. We had the kind of Stockport coat of arms thing, and that's fine, great, like that. Where did the little football come from? What is that all about?
I don't know. I think they've basically got some fancy designer in and said, look, what can you do for us?
We'll stick a football on it.
I've stuck a football on. That'll be £4.5 grand, please.
Because that was like from the original when we changed it in 91, 92, wasn't it? That football's always been on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just never understood it. It's like, why do we need a football on there? I don't know.
Because I think the most important thing about the badge is surely the name on it. At the end of the day, it's Stockport County. It's our club. That's what's on the badge, and that's what should always be. That's what
yeah.
Yeah, but the Stockport County, the word Stockport County hasn't always been on the badge, though, has it? It's like it's on a what would you call it? It's like a flag at the bottom, not a flag. What do you call it? Like a ribbon. It's always been on a ribbon separate. Whereas now it's like the round one of the 80s. It's on the badge. It's properly there, and I don't know. I'm glad they've taken it from that little ribbon at the bottom. I think they've done that, haven't they? I'm glad they've taken it from the ribbon at the bottom and moved it. And I'll cut this out if I'm wrong, but I think that's what they've done.
No, they have, yeah, because they've got the 1883, aren't they? Underneath the coat of arms bit. And then, there isn't a Stockport County. Stockport County isn't on it twice. Like 1883.
Right, there you go. Yeah, like 1883. So I think it's, I don't know. Just apart from 1883 being on there twice, I like it. I might get it tattooed on my leg. There you go. That's how much I like it.
Do you want me to do that for you?
No, thanks.
Are you sure? I've got a rusty compass and some ink, some printer ink. I can do it, mate. All right.
Did you learn that in the Days in Strange Ways then?
Yeah. After that, I'll show you how to make a prison shank out of a toothbrush. You won't have to queue up in the Royal Oak anymore after that. So, what do we think of the whole aesthetic and what have you of the whole kit launch? Then, they're in a very aggressive stance. The players, aren't they, on the poster? My word, I was terrified.
Hogan looks like he's really, really, really pissed off. But probably because he had to wear the fucking yellow one. He's like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm not wearing this one. Like, well, these two have got the blue one on, and he's got the white. So you're gonna have to. It's either that or the away keepers one, isn't it? Oh, I'm gonna fucking wear the yellow one then.
I was looking at that picture while I was having my breakfast this morning, and my fucking cornflakes jumped out the bowl.
I noticed someone on Twitter, I forget who it is, there's so many parody accounts now, but someone's photoshopped a load of shopping bags.
Fucking great, that, isn't it? Yeah, I saw that.
It
looks proper realistic as well.
No, it's dead good. It's dead good.
There was a slight issue. So did anyone notice that Ben Hinchliffe has...
Yeah.
He's got one black hand and he's got the knees of a black man as well.
He's got a truck driver's tan, hasn't he, down one side?
Yeah. Well, he must have been driving a French truck because it's on the wrong side.
Oh, right, yeah.
Sticking his legs out the window as well.
Yeah,
but that black hand though and black left leg, I think, is only appearing on I think it's the screen grabs of or whatever of the site, because when you go on the site it's a lot lighter than that. So,
all right.
I think anyway. That's what I looked at it before.
Do we have any thoughts on the choice of players? Because we'll come on to it later on. But obviously, I spoke to Jim this week and was lucky enough to interview him. And he did mention about having already acquired the spine of his team for the next couple of years in Hogan, Maynard, and Bennett.
Yeah, I mean, it was
the players chosen.
They were always going to do that, weren't they? They were always going to put in the ones that we'd actually spent physical, real life cash on, like this, because it's the whole rebranding thing and sort of a new era, and this is us, and these are the players we've got. This is these are going to be the sort of faces of our club now. Now, whether you agree or disagree with that, because we should be looking a little bit at the players who got us in this position in the first place, and I just don't want it to kind of create a them and us thing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I see what you're saying. I'm pretty sure Gannon strikes me as the type of person that wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah,
it's a we're in this together kind of thing, isn't it? But I agree with what you just said about the sort of the face of the club and the spine. That's obviously whether Jim Gannon's decided those are going to go on the shoot themselves, not go on and shoot themselves, go on to the photo shoot themselves, or some PR guys said to them, look, you need to get these players in to the shoot because that's your spine of your team. And whichever way it's worked out, they're the right people to do it. And Hinchliffe, it's a difficult one because you have to model the goalkeeper shirt, don't you?
Yeah.
But I know he's going to sign a new. He's intimated, he's going to sign a new contract, or Gannon said he was offered a full-time contract. So it looks like Hinchliffe's going to be our keeper for next season. So I think the choice of players is spot on. The only thing that worries me about it is we've seen Hogan already. We know what he's capable of. We obviously know Hinchliffe inside out. Maynard and Bennett, we've not really seen. So it's got the potential, if they're on the photo shoot, for them to fall flat on the face, not play well, not be part of the team and all that sort of stuff. Just not through any fault of their own. They might just not click or whatever. And then that becomes an issue then that they're out of favour or they even leave, yet they're still on the photo shoots.
I think just the pedigree of those players, particularly the ones from Salford, they're the serial winners at the end of the day. So I think the risk is a lot lower than it would have
granted,
been.
yeah.
Like, in the past, I think budget has dictated that we've had to sign younger players. Younger players who aren't quite there yet. Who've got a lot of work to be done on them. But now, obviously, with the takeover and what have you, we've been able to get some proper proven players who've.
Yeah.
I think it's very low risk personally. Yeah, I did see one bedwetter on Facebook on when County put the post up about the retained list and which players are offered contracts. I genuinely saw someone say, "Oh, should get rid of Curran. He's done nothing." It's like, well, he had his leg snapped in two. Well, what do you want him to do? It's like, oh no. When he did play, he looked knackered. It's like, well, yeah, he played an hour as a substitute at Wrexham away in a division that's 3 divisions higher than he's used to. What do you expect?
Yeah, not much fit at all, was he? Correct me if I'm wrong. He's still at the club, isn't he? But there's rumour he's going somewhere.
Well, I'd imagine once he's fit, he'll probably go out on loan. But he's contract. I'm just looking at we've got 5 professional players contracted for next season: Hogan, Maynard, Keane, Curran, and Bennett. So Curran is full time. He's got another year in his contract.
I mean, that's why they've got Keane on the kit launch picture, isn't it? Because he's full time. So, like you were saying about the sort of risk of having players that may come and go on that.
Yeah,
you've got Keane there who's signed up for the future, and low risk.
Yeah, and when I saw the thing as well, I had a bit of a think about it, and I just sat back and thought, Maynard is not going to get body slammed away at Worcester, is he?
No,
he's just not going to. And I think when we first started the podcast, probably just after actually, we interviewed Mike Flynn, and it was after that group of players had gone, and I know I'm going on a tangent here, but there was a point to it, and he was saying Charlie Russell had just left. And Charlie Russell was, he was one of our central midfielders.
Yeah, him and Churchman.
Him and Churchman, and even Mike Flynn said once those guys had gone out and we got a new batch in, which was kind of the start of the rebuild, if you like. If you're stood in a tunnel and you're a central midfielder and Charlie Russell stood next to you, you're going to be thinking, I'm fucking having him all day.
Yeah.
When you stood in a tunnel, Lois Maynard is stood there, Liam Hogan. You're not going to be thinking. You might not be thinking, "Shit, I'm going to get battered today," but you're definitely not thinking, "I'm having them."
Yeah.
Would you?
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing.
They're not just hard bastards. They're serial winners as well, which is exactly the combination we need.
Yeah, I mean, like I think I mentioned it in one of the first couple of articles. Is that Gannon has brought in those players who are physical. You look at our side. It's not massively physical, is it? I mean, Turnbull, Palmer, Keane, possibly, but he's bringing in those players that are physical, that are big. I mean, if you look at some of the sides that have turned us over this season, and they're just full of big hard bastards, aren't they? Yeah. And I mean, whether they're decent footballers or not, they're just pushing us around all over the fucking place, and that's why we're getting turned over. But Gannon is starting to turn that around now. You've got that spine of the team. You've got a decent midfielder. You've got a centre half. You've got a big striker as well, and we're starting to see those types of players coming in. The ones that have been bullying us all season.
I think once we do get out of non-league, I think we discussed it last time, but it is now a case of when rather than if. I think. Once we do get out of non-league, I would love to do a countdown of the lowest moments in non-league, just to bookend the whole thing. And for me, it will be the Charlie Russell body slam. It's not the fact it happened; it was the other players' reaction to it. No one wanted to come and fight for him or anything.
Yeah,
it was just, and that was a point where I just thought, oh, we're fucked. It's going to be ages before we're back up there.
Russia Olympic.
Without
a doubt.
That's
fucking hell.
Well, what about getting hammered at Alfreton away? Was that 6-1? Was it or something?
And that was the conference. That was in the National League as well. That was.
Yeah. I think. Do you know what, Nick? That's a good idea. I think we do that. Once we get out, and I think actually, I don't think I've ever cried for County before, but if we get back up into the Football League, I think I might shed a tear.
Oh, I have.
Oh, I will. I've already told Missy she's not going to see me for a fortnight.
Fucking hundreds of times. Curzon last season, fucking, I was in bits. It was like my kids being born again.
I genuinely lost it there because I was looking on Flash. Everyone around me was jumping around, and I was looking on Flash Scores, and Flash Scores for me was still saying that it was 0-0 at Spennymoor. So I missed out on about 5 minutes of going absolutely mental because I was.
Because you were sat there going, "No, don't say it on fucking Flash Scores, so it didn't happen."
Yeah, exactly. And then as soon as I did, that was it. Yeah, the tears came. It was one of them where I actually, in the armo after, I genuinely had chest pains. I thought, you know, when you scream and shout and jump out so much, that you start to feel a bit sick and you feel like you're going to have a heart attack. I honestly thought I'm going to have to call an ambulance here. This is an embarrassment. But I had like 6 pints and I was all right after that.
Funnily enough.
Yeah, purely medicinal. So in terms of the players that are going to be released, we've got Dan Cowan to start with. What do we think there?
I think it's on a. It's going to sound awful, this, but on a talent basis, I think it's a good decision. But just for pure, sort of on an emotional basis, with my heart, I would like to have seen him stay. But
yeah, he's versatile as well. Can cover 3 positions.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck it, Ross. You'd never make it as a football manager, you would you?
No,
too sentimental, aren't you?
No. You see, this is the thing. When it comes to County, all logic goes out of the fucking window. But when you know, when we're at football and Stockport County ladies, because I'm involved and I'm invested in it, and we want results. It is literally just right. Well, you're going on, you're coming off, you're not picked this week, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sort of people managing him. So I'd be better than you think. Let's put it that way.
I'd like Cowan to stay, purely for the versatility. I mean, you can have, your new signings, Ogans and that, but you need some squad players, don't you? Any teams need some squad players, and as long as he's okay with that role, he's going to come on. He's going to play right back. He's going to play centre half. You know what I mean? Left back. You know what I mean?
I mean, the three that I wasn't too surprised with. Go on, sorry.
No, I'm just saying, just from a versatility point of view, I'd like him to stay.
Absolutely, yeah. I wouldn't have been too surprised or angered if he had been offered another year contract. To be honest, Also, in terms of players, Simon Tubic, Tyler Garrett, and Liam McAlinden.
Still gutted
Tubic,
about
I think.
McAlinden.
Yeah, I thought
I'm gutted about McAlinden.
I thought he was really coming into form towards before everything was suspended. He was starting to really look like a quality player. But at the end of the day, him and Garrett were both players who were signed under the previous budget. The takeover soon went through, and obviously I think we're shopping in a different market now. Tubic went out on loan a few times, but doesn't really seem to have pulled up any trees at a lower level. So I don't think that's too much of a surprise. Having seen him a few times in senior cup games and whatever, I think he's got something about him, but I'm not too sure he'll ever get to this level that we're at now.
That's it. Yeah, like you say, we're after a different type of player now, aren't we? So yeah,
that's it. He players who can come in and make an impact straight away. And we've also lost Mulhern, Ormson, and Di Maio. I thought Di Maio's obviously got something about him, but I just don't think he's a Jim Gannon player, personally.
I think he had a bit of a dig in his tweet as well. When he
announced enjoying his football.
Yeah, he announced it rather than the club, and made a comment about enjoying his football, which is fine. I'm not arsed. If you're unhappy, then do something about it, which he has done, which is fine. Great, good luck. But no,
I think he will go on to get another club in the National League at the very least. I think
so.
But personally, I wouldn't be surprised to see him drop down a division and go to Alfreton because that's close to where he lives, and I think it'd be a good move for him there. And they're not a bad club at that level, really. Alfreton, he'll get a lot of game time there, and he'll get a bit of exposure because the very least they're a mid-table team in the National League North. So I think he'll play week in, week out. Ian Ormson, I'm not too surprised with really because he's obviously a decent keeper. I don't think he's ever going to be number one for us. So I think there's talk of him being off to Altrincham, according to the non-league tittle tattle page. Whether you put any stock in that or not, but it seems as though he's been linked with a move there as their number one, which would make sense. And then Frank Mulhern, I was a little bit surprised. I thought after his loan spell, he might come back and get involved in the team. But out of him, I think Niall Bell does have some. I can see why. I think it's crunch time for Niall Bell. I think he's got a year of full-time training, and if he doesn't start to take things on board, I think he'll be down the road. He'll be gone as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's on borrowed time, Bell. Really do. I was surprised that he was kept on, but he's definitely on borrowed time. And if it doesn't happen this year, like you say, I think he could be out. And yeah, Mulhern, I'm not surprised about. Scored that goal at Dover, and that's about it. You know.
Yeah, I really expected him to step up when we had Ben Walker on during the summer. I think me and Ben both said we think Mulhern's going to have a big season, and unfortunately it didn't happen. But yeah, he still scored one of the greatest goals you'll ever see. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I don't know. I did like Mulhern. I liked his work ethic. He scored some good goals as well. I just think that he was good. He was good in the National North at the top end of that. Okay in the National. If we're looking to get into League Two, he's probably a bit step too far for him at this point in his career. Niall Bell, I think, and I don't you might know Nick because you interviewed him, but I think Gannon likes to have a little project that's a local lad. Do you know what I mean? And Niall Bell I think he's from either Brinnington or Reddish. I think.
Yeah.
So he's local. He's not, he's not going to go anywhere. He's young. He scores some goals out of nothing, doesn't he? So I think you're right. I think another year.
He seems to have that element of unpredictability about him. Like the opposition don't know what he's going to do, but sometimes I don't think he knows what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Hopefully, a year of full-time training.
Paolo One-Shot made a career out of that, didn't he? So
yeah.
But Niall Bell isn't Paolo One-Shot though.
No, I know he's not. But
with that attitude, he's not.
Bloody hell. But he's, like you say, that unpredictability. It's good. I think with Niall Belly, I think he's a confidence player. I think we've said this before.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
His old PE teacher told me that, so he needs an arm around his shoulder. So,
and I've just said he's on borrowed time, so
we'll
that's his confidence through the floor now.
You've fucked him. That's what he's done. In terms of the loan players, obviously Ben Jackson has gone back to Huddersfield and Eddie Clark's gone back to Fleetwood. What do we think? Do we think we're in with a chance of signing Danny Lloyd or not? Because I think it's a bit of a standoff now, personally, because I don't think he's wanted at Salford, but he's on a big wage, so he's not going to want to rip up his contract. But if he wants to get a contract elsewhere, he's going to have to lower his demands, I think.
Yeah, looks like it.
So it's whether Salford decide to just release him and then we can get him without having to pay a fee, or I don't know if he's going to put in a transfer request or what. It's all a bit up in the air. But he's one I'd like to see back, to be honest. I don't think we saw the best of him last season.
No, because the season was cut short as well. I think he was doing okay.
Yeah.
Like I say, wasn't ripping up any trees, but we know what he's capable of.
Exactly.
And we know how hard he grafts. He's an absolute grafter. Do you know what? I'm struggling to think of another player that grafts as hard as him.
In the last 2 years as well, he's proven himself at a level two divisions higher than we're at now. So
yeah,
it's a no-brainer really. If he's available, you'd think we'd go for him.
Yeah, I'd like to see him back personally. And friend of the podcast, obviously.
Oh yes,
so that'd be nice.
Well, he put us on the map, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, Nick, we were doing okay. We were doing
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Calm down. We've all had a drink.
It's really bizarre.
No, it was. I mean,
I was saying it's really bizarre because Eddie Clark followed me on Twitter. Yeah. Just out of nowhere, I was like. This, Eddie Clark is now following. I thought, who the fuck's Eddie Clark? I didn't know. And it was literally like the day we'd signed him as well. So it's not as if, he'd played for us a few times and I still didn't know who he was. And I thought, who the fuck's that? So I went on his profile and it's Eddie Clark. footballer. Oh, shit, it's Eddie. Why is he just randomly followed me? A bit odd.
That's a great quiz question for 10 years' time. Who is Eddie Clark? I'll have to hurry your teams.
Fucking hell, yeah. Come on a sub a few times, but didn't do an awful lot, did he?
Yeah, I think left back will be one of the first positions Jim tries to strengthen, because he did mention when I spoke to him that he never really replaced Duxbury.
Would you have Duxbury back?
Fuck off. No way.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Long. You'll fit in very well on here.
No way. That's the way he left us. No way.
I do think he was very badly advised by his agent, but at the same time, he's old enough to have his own mind. But let's not forget, when we had Gary Stopforth on the podcast, he did say Duxbury was so thick that they wonder how he gets dressed in the morning. So, I mean, for me, out of the managers Duxbury's worked for, Jim's the one who I feel has done the most for him, both at Northwich and County. Obviously, Duxbury's put the work in as well, obviously. Yeah. But I just think, he showed a lack of respect, not just to Jim, but I think to the fans as well, personally. Yeah,
I just think it was really out of order. I mean, if you've got a deal elsewhere, fine. I'm not going to absolutely no problem with that. Move wherever you want, but to just treat us like that. Not even bother turning up and all the rest of it. And
this is like a month after winning the league title with us and everything, and being part of the celebrations and everything. It's very, very strange. And he's not exactly pulled up any trees. I know he's represented two struggling teams this season in the National League, but I think as an attacking left back, it's still possible to shine in a poor team. I think that's one of the positions where you can still shine even if you're playing in a shit team. And by the sounds of it, he doesn't seem to have done much really. So I think we'll be looking at far better than him. Question for you both: if you could recreate one sporting moment and be there doing it yourself, what would it be, Russ?
Winning putt in the 1992 Open Championships to replicate Nick Faldo.
Golf then?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know, not my thing. What about you, Dave?
Well, I'm a Tory, as you well know, so I go and watch cricket. And I was there along with John Bilsbury, friend of the podcast, the Tea Party podcast, and we were both there when Ben Stokes hit the winning runs in the Headingley Test on that famous Sunday a couple of months ago. So I would recreate that. Even I watched that.
I'm going to have to go for a county moment now, then, aren't I? Top of my head, Glenn Taylor's header for Spennymoor against Chorley, all the way.
Get in.
So why have you asked us that, Ernie?
Because it's a little message from our new sponsors, the Players Entrance in Mersey Stockport, where you can go and recreate many sporting moments.
And it's run by a county fan.
And
it's got Darren Stevenson on the wall. There's a mural of Darren Stevenson on the wall.
Doing an overhead kick, I believe.
Doing an overhead kick.
I'm going to get on for it. I don't want him doing that. Was he actually doing an overhead kick like as a model for the picture?
I don't know. The picture I've seen with him, he's got his broken leg. So.
And we're back in the room. As we start the second half, lads, I just wanted to mention very, very briefly that because at the top of the show I mentioned about the podcast growing, what we're actually thinking of doing is increasing sort of the footfall onto the website and things like that, and other bits and bats that we might move into. And I've started to ask for sort of crowdfunding, so people to donate. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you to the people that have donated so far. We've had 70 quid in.
Brilliant.
Which it's not, it's a lot. I know people are giving the money and in these times, so really appreciate it. And it is a lot. It's 70 quid. So just wanted to say thank you to those people. You know who you are. I've said thanks to you privately as well. So we're still open for donations though. So if you can and you like what we do, you like our content, then we'd appreciate that, and we'll obviously chip in ourselves, obviously, like we have been doing for the past 5 years, because it does cost money to run these, and the enjoyment we get out of it is chatting shit about county, basically. Yeah. Chatting about the thing we love, and we don't get paid for it. It's all done, voluntarily. So I just wanted to put that out there. And then I wanted to start to talk to Dave a bit more, if he would. Because my ears pricked up, Dave, before when you were talking about writing for publication. So, just if you wanted to just let us know about that, what sort of I don't want it's not like an interview, but what sort of experience have you got in writing? Because it sounds interesting.
No, I've written for a few websites for people that are aware and read, independent websites. And I wrote for These Football Times, Football Pink, a couple of others as well. Wrote for The Guardian on one occasion, and I was also nearly wrote for the MEN as well. Nearly. Didn't come off, but yeah. So
I was going to say, is that like being nearly pregnant?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
There's a bit of a story behind that MEM one, but some very, very quickly, some random transfers account on Twitter got in touch with me and said, I've seen you do a bit of writing. Do you want to do an article for us? So I was like, I look on the account and that, and it was just like some just sort of random retweeting transfer rumours and shit. And I was like, you're okay. And he said, I was doing a lot of articles about Juventus at the time, and this guy comes back to me and said, well, actually, full disclosure, I'm from the Trinity Media Group or Trinity Newspaper Group over.
Trinity Mirror, yeah.
Run the MEN, and he said that Alexandro is moving to United. It's nailed on, it's done, but it's been kept under wraps. What we want to do is we want to get ahead. We want someone to do an article, a Juventus fan living in this country, do an article on Alexandro. So I was like, right, okay then. And it never happened because obviously the transfer never happened. So that was like dead in the water. But yeah, I was round to all my mates and guess what's happening? This is nailed on, it's happening. I never did. So, but yeah, I mean, get into it for anybody that's interested. Doing your own writing and that, it's dead easy. There's loads of websites out there that are always looking for writers, and all you got to be able to do is just talk bollocks and use a dictionary. It's dead easy. And when you're a massive narcissist and a bit pompous like me, then it also helps as well.
You're fitting well on here then.
Yeah, it's really easy. And the good thing is that people read it. So if you put a tweet out or something like that, and is anybody going to read it? Do you know? I mean, who knows? But if you put an article out there, people are going to read it. So you can say whatever you like. It's great. It's just like I can, go around slagging loads of people off, and it's just really good. Like I tend to do. Yeah, I don't mind having a go at people, even county fans and stuff like that. So yeah, anyone that's interested, there's loads of websites out there. Really is. Always looking for writers. I'll do a bit of a name drop here because these guys helped me quite a bit with my writing, and so Ronnie Dog Media, who now run Football Pink, get in touch with them there. They've got a couple of sites as well. By far the greatest team they used to do, and I can't remember the other one. But if you Google them, they're there, always looking for writers. They have just some really top guys. As you can probably imagine, that kind of line of work, it's full of knobs and really pretentious arseholes. And there's a couple of websites which I won't mention. Are really, really, really stuck up. So you do get that. But like I say, the guys that run the Football Pink now, really good, sound really down to earth, and they don't overly edit your work and all this, and yeah, really, really nice people. So yeah.
So the Dave, the first article you wrote for us, or wrote for the podcast, actually blew the website, didn't it?
It did. I do apologise. I don't know what happened there.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. Right, I
stuck a lot of pictures on it, didn't I? And
well, yeah, that was part of it, but because we have the Bollock Basic package with the hosting, literally put it on at 8 o'clock or 8:30. I think I finished it at night time with the pictures, and because of the bandwidth that we've got, I noticed by 11:30 we'd blown all the bandwidth that we never normally use 10% of. So
that's I didn't mention that I'm really stupidly popular, and I've got like, that's just my wife and kids reading it. Read this. Daddy's wrote this. It's really good.
Refresh.
So I do apologise. But yeah, I mean,
That's
when we've got some actual football to talk about, there'll be a bit more kind of topical and kind of getting into the ins and outs of counting games and stuff like that in a bit better. But it's kind of as and when I kind of think I'm going to write about that. That's a good idea, because most of my stuff, I'm a complete amateur, but most of my stuff comes from like a paragraph in my head, I'll see.
right.
And I'll make no apologies for this. I see a tweet and I go, yeah, that's what I agree with. I'm going to write, and it comes from there, and it just kind of snowballs, and that's how I do most of my stuff. So, yeah, when we've got some actual stuff to talk about, I mean, not like we're not doing now, but some actual games and maybe a few transfers and that, then we'll have a maybe a couple of months or something like that. But yeah, I'm just kind of doing it as and when at the moment.
No, it's good. And what we'll do as you write them, which is obviously just whenever you want to write them, we'll get them out. We'll tweet them. We'll get them on the Facebook page, and there's a permanent link on our website now with
I noticed.
Title
Yeah,
blog,
I noticed.
and it takes you straight to your page. So yeah, it's good. Glad to have you on board.
Yeah.
We are,
Cheers. Enjoying it.
Right, help the Hatters. What's going on there, Nick?
Yeah, they've just been given an award, quite a prestigious award as well. I think it's. I think everyone knows the work that Help the Hatters do. They have done for a long time, led by John Fitzpatrick and a group of absolutely brilliant volunteers. People give up their free time to do whatever needs doing at Edgeley Park. I know Jim Gannon's a member and just mucks in whenever he can. I know they've done work on the changing rooms. They've tidied the ground up. They clean the ground because we're all scruffy bastards who can't tidy up after ourselves. So it's basically the volunteer arm of the fans group, really. It's almost an equivalent to the co-op. And they are one of 230 charities, enterprises and volunteer groups to receive the award this year. So it's the Queen's Award for Voluntary Service, and there's going to be 2 of the volunteers going to be attending a garden party at Buckingham Palace. So I'm going to find out who it is and get them to go and kick Prince Andrew in the bollocks.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, but yeah, like I say, legends. Without Help the Hatters, the amount of work they do, and a lot of stuff like that can go, unnoticed and underappreciated. But the work they do is ridiculously good.
Yeah. I'd really like it if the club would reward them with free season tickets or something along those lines. Yeah. I think because some of the people involved there have been doing it for at least a decade, and it's I think it's good. Stuff like that just shouldn't go unnoticed. And it's really good that they've received such a high accolade that very few people pick up, and it's just testament to the amazing work they do. That they're there in all weathers, working hard for the club and for the community as well. They've branched out into a lot of community initiatives and what have you as well, along with a community foundation and everything. And I think I said on Facebook in the comments on one of the articles about it, but they really are the jewel in the county crown. It does really make you proud to be part of a club like County.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really good. Yeah, no, hey. You mentioned season tickets then. We've not mentioned it yet, but what did you think about the announcement about the season tickets?
Yeah, I mean, prices have been frozen, aren't they? Which I think is because I think there's an element of our support that we may be thinking, well, we've got a rich benefactor now, so season ticket prices should come down. But I don't think that was ever a realistic thing to ask for, because the whole thing of the new ownership is that they want to build a sustainable football club, and that's why. I mean, the previous owners did some good work building towards that to allow us to be taken over. And I think I know there's a lot of work being planned, especially in the Cheadle end, I believe, over the summer. There's going to be a lot of work on the corporate side, and also the food and drink sales, because obviously I think it's been piss poor for a long time now. So by the sounds of it, there's going to be...
It's not even been that good, has it?
Well, no, I can't even remember the last time I actually had a pint at the ground now, because it's been so bad.
Oh, I'll tell you a pint horror story I had. I don't regularly buy one under the cheese line, but I did on this occasion. This was only just before Christmas, and got a pint of lager there, and it smelt like egg and tasted like cider.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah,
fucking. I got about a third of the way through it because I thought I've paid for this, so I'm going to fucking drink it. Yeah.
It smells like egg and tastes like cider. This is not the drink to put inside you. That's my motto.
Hey.
Although I do like cider. So
going back to the season tickets, though, I noticed that they mentioned that they were going to give refunds, were they, for the matches that hadn't been played? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you don't want to renew your season ticket, then you give you match credit. They called it. Because my lad's got a Super 10, so he's got a few games left on that. And it's the same. It works the same as a season ticket. You get a discount if you want to upgrade to a season ticket, and you get credit if you don't.
You see, what I was thinking was, and I'm in this boat, that this is why I thought about it. I'm lucky enough, not necessarily to need the discount or need the money back for the games that weren't played. So I was thinking, if we had a pot of those type of people, then the money that was in credit, or I think it's in credit, could be then paid for kids' tickets to get more into the Vernon stand.
Yeah, I think Dave Schofield, friend of the podcast, mentioned something similar.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Good idea.
Because there must be 4 matches for me, which is what, £60?
I mean, doesn't a season ticket give you? Is it? Does it work out as 3 or 4 games?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I suppose so. You'd have to. I've not done the maths on it. Let's put it that way. But I just think if there's 4 games that I've missed, then surely to balance it out, you could get a few kids through the door from schools or something, and just bolster the coffers in that way.
I pay on the day anyway. I've done for the last 2 seasons. I've not had a season ticket. But I think if I had a season ticket this year, I'd be quite happy personally for the club to keep my money. I don't think I'd be asking for anything back. I think it's just a way of showing that you approve of the way things are going, especially with the donations to Stockport NHS.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, my girlfriend works for Stockport NHS as well, so it's quite close to my heart. So I was delighted to see all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, people need the cash, and whatever.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone's circumstances are different. Yeah.
Want a refund, and that's fine. I haven't got a problem with that. But if you don't, then fine. Yeah, let's let the club keep it.
Sure, I think the fans should be given an option. If you want it back, fine. Yeah, put it towards your next season ticket, whatever you want to do with it. But there must be a few out there that are probably thinking. I mean, I've spoken to a couple of people, and they said, I don't really need it back. So we're in lucky positions, obviously.
Yeah.
Get it out to the kids.
Absolutely, yeah, good idea.
Or wherever, yeah. Okay, should we move on to your little rendezvous, Nick?
Yeah. For those who don't know, I was asked a few weeks back, pretty much off the back of being involved in this podcast. I think I was asked to take. There's a new community radio station. I know Ofcom have basically giving licenses to community radio stations free of charge to give information about COVID-19. Cheer people up, the lot. So I was asked, along with 3 other people, to basically be in charge of a weekly football show on Cheadle FM. Which is a new station. It's 87.9 FM, or you can also listen online at cheadle.fm. The guy leading it, also called Nick, is he's a journalism student doing sports journalism. So he was the one leading it. We did our first episode. We recorded it last Tuesday, and it went out on the Friday night at 6 p.m. First episode, we talked about the FA Cup, what it means to what it means to me as a County fan compared to the United fans that we had on there and what have you. Unfortunately, Nick who was leading it, he got offered a paid opportunity that he applied for a while ago, so he's had to step down. So I'm now the poor bugger who's leading it all. But thanks to Helen Foster Grime at County's Community Foundation, we managed to get an interview with Jim Gannon this week. Obviously, it's Thursday night as we're recording this. It'll be airing. Well, by the time this goes out, it will have been on the radio. So I will say now that it's been on the radio, we will be putting I've got the video of the interview between the three of us and Jim Gannon. So that'll be going on the podcast YouTube channel, thanks to Pete Wilson. Because I think a lot of people might miss it. Maybe 6 o'clock. I know there's a lot of exiles who want to catch up on it, and the time difference might not make it possible. But yeah, we got to speak to Jim Gannon.
Nick, can I just interject there?
Of course,
so the video from your interview on Cheadle FM.
Yep.
We're going to put that on our pod. Are we allowed to do that?
We are.
Perfect.
The only problem in the past with putting the show up is the music copyrights. We get to play some songs during the hour. So it's an hour-long show usually, with normally four tracks played throughout the show, chosen by everyone who's on the show.
Right.
So we did it via Zoom. So it's all been recorded on Zoom, and I'm going to be sending the video over to Peter Wilson once it's aired, and he's going to do the chopping and edit it and put it on our YouTube, obviously without the music because of the copyright.
Yeah.
But we got to spend an hour. Well, it was closer to 2 hours actually talking to Jim. Covered all manner of subjects. We started off talking about the renewed pressure, like how his job's changed since the takeover, what kind of position we'll be in once football resumes, the kind of profile of players he's looking to sign, and then we moved on and talked a fair bit about him as a person, his earliest footballing memories, going watching West Ham at Upton Park in the 70s. And then there was a fair bit of tactical discussion as well, talking about the formations, the four-line formations that he favours and why he picks them. And yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Chris Ridgway's interviews with him on the official podcast. I think in 15 or 20 minutes a week, I feel like we learn so much about him and about what he wants to do and the vision he's got. And just getting, I could quite happily still be sat there now talking to him if we'd not had to keep it to an hour/hour and a half, I'd quite easily still be there now because it was just fascinating, and the passion he's got for the club, for the town, and everything. It's just so evident every time you speak to him. Genuinely just starstruck speaking to him. Really, it was one of them. Yeah, because I've been watching him I watched him as a player, and then he's one of the. Well, I think if he's not the best manager in our history, he will be very soon once he leads us back into the Football League. But I would like to point out one. We did ask him what his favourite footballing memory was, and he actually refused to give one from his career in the past. He chose the moment when he finally leads us back into the Football League. He feels that'll eclipse everything he's done. So the fact he's just thinking that far forward, we're in just perfect hands now. He obviously feels a little bit more pressure. he understands the pressure that he's under job wise now, in terms of needing to get back to the Football League. They've got a plan to try and get to the Championship in 6 or 7 years.
Fuck COVID, let's get out there. Come on.
Yeah, yes, come on, fuck it off. Yeah, one interesting thing I did pick up on in there. I don't think there's a problem with me saying it because it was part of the interview. The budget after we got promoted the budget in the National League wasn't much more than the budget we had when we went up, basically. So hence him not really being able to replace the likes of Duxbury and Warburton, who served us so well for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So obviously, I think it got to the stage where the previous regime realised that they weren't able to bankroll the ambition that the fans and the town and the club have got. So they've obviously stepped aside. But it seems as though all's well. They're working hard on getting ready. I know the players are back in training next week, ready for a possible playoff. But everything's the way that they're planning things. It's with an eye on us being involved in the playoffs. But whether that happens or not, obviously we don't know. I don't think anyone's got a bloody clue, really.
No. Imagine if this takeover hadn't happened, though. Just by going what you said there about the budget and that.
Yeah.
Jesus. It's not bad thinking about, does it? Because, we were
scary,
massively struggling in those weeks coming up to the takeover actually finally happening. Imagine if it had not happened, if, Mark Stoddard never existed and that, we'd have just been straight back down again, wouldn't we?
Yeah, because he did say he felt that the momentum that we built from getting promoted would be enough for us to have a great start to the season, which we did. We had a fantastic August.
Which we did, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously we hit that wall in September, and he mentioned having to bring the likes of Hamill, Leesley, Walker, and Rodney in. I know Hamill and Leesley didn't exactly set the world on fire, but I think just that their mere presence in the dressing room and the training ground helped lift a few of the other players. But interestingly, he did say there's no way we'd have been able to afford those players on a full-time wage. There's no chance.
No.
Hence the fact we got them on loan. But yeah, obviously January came round, and that's kind of changed the market. And he did stress that the market we're looking in is we're looking in the leagues above us.
Marvellous.
That's quality. That's quality to hear, isn't it? That is brilliant to hear.
Off the back of your article about Jim this week, Dave. It just baffles me that there's a certain element of our fan base that are unfortunately just waiting for us to go on a bad run.
It's just any excuse, isn't it? But they then call people, who their opponents on this argument are people who love Jim Gannon and that. But in their eyes, he can't do anything wrong, and it's just kind of two sides. I mean, why does there need to be that? I mean, this man is just. Like I said before, been involved in absolutely everything positive in the last 30 years, and why can't we just celebrate that? Why do these people, like I said in my article, I think I might have said it afterwards. Actually, it seems to be the folk that had a problem with him as a player, now have a problem with him as a manager, and he rubs people up the wrong way sometimes. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'd rather have that. I'd rather have a manager with balls and just kind of being a yes man for the board, or not having a real voice. You know what I mean? I'd rather have a manager like Jim Gannon any day.
Well, if you look at some of the best managers of all time, the likes of Clough and Ferguson.
I was just about to say Clough. Yeah,
he's a real favourite of mine. And I'm to take a quote from the thick of it. If you're going to make an omelette, you're going to have some frank and honest discussions with your eggs.
If you notice in my first article about the review of the season, there's a thick of it reference in there.
Oh, I'll have to go back. I must have missed that first time, unless I think I was drinking when I read the first one.
It's a bit subtle. It is a bit subtle. You might miss it. But it is in there.
Right, I'm going to find that.
It helps if you've watched in the thick of it.
It does.
It's usually a start, yeah.
Okay.
Have you not watched it, Russ?
No, I haven't. But going back to Gannon, I know there's a lot of love in the room for Gannon, and I totally back that. And I think people need to realise when we get these types of people, like the United fans with Fergie, it's probably. I'm not sure if it's right to say it in the same breath, really, but like you see players like Zidane, Messi, and Ronaldo, and these type of players. They're not here forever. Just enjoy it while it's lasting.
Absolutely.
I like the tagline from the branding thing. It was enjoy the journey. Was that the brand line?
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. Look what all you've got to do is look what Gannon's done with us with absolutely nothing.
I was just about to say that, Ross. Yeah. Absolutely. He's had we haven't had a pot to piss in for a couple of years now, and probably even longer than that. And look what he's done. It's just ridiculous. Why can't people just see that? But people just moan. Some people just can't enjoy anything good, can they? We won the fucking league the other year. Yeah, we've done well this season. Look at where we're going to be in the next few years, and people are still fucking moaning, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, once again, I'm going to quote the thick of it. These are the people who, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but these are the people who turn on the telly and see Nelson Mandela walk into freedom and say, "Oh, is diagnosis murder not on the other side?" No matter what. I mean, when we went through that bad run in September, there were genuinely people on Facebook saying, "Well, we only won the league by a point." It's like, yeah, but you've just said it. We won the league.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
We won the league after being like bottom half of the table in like October, November. You know what I mean? That's stunning. That's an absolutely stunning run of form. And that's something he mentioned on the when I spoke to him. He just said that he spoke to the players and what have you, and just said, "Look, you won't believe what it's going to be, what it's like here, like in terms of like what the fans are like when you're winning." But I think that all goes back to that Fylde game. The season where we just missed out on the playoffs in the National North.
Was that the 0-0? Was it no? Wasn't 0-0? Was it?
No, they beat us 2-1. Scott Spencer equalised in the 90th minute, and then Danny Rowe scored a free kick straight away. To win it.
that was when Inchcliffe was hugging the post.
Yes, that's the last one. Yeah, Gary Stockford wasn't a fan of that, was he?
Yes.
But yeah, it was one of them games where there was a
connection
connection between the fans and the players for the first time in a very long time with the club. And I think that was the moment for me where I thought, it's going to go right this time round for Jim. That's it. And I think that the day we got taken over, I put a post on Facebook and Twitter saying, look, first time round, he had us on the verge of the championship before stuff out of his control basically kiboshed that. And second time round, he was never given the support he wanted. He was undermined at every opportunity. Now he's finally got everything he needs to do his job. Just enjoy the journey and get behind him.
So playing devil's advocate then, because there are a lot of, I won't play into the people that don't like Jim Gannon, but playing devil's advocate, right? We've got money behind us now, got a new brand, all that kind of thing. If say next season starts at the same time and we're aiming for promotion because we want to get back into the Football League, how long has Gannon got before the board and start to get twitchy about his position?
I think personally, if it gets to the end of the first season and we have been challenging and up there and we make the playoffs and maybe lose out, then just stick with. I mean, he's got a proven track record. Just stick with him. Every season he's been with us, we've done better than the season before.
Yeah,
without fail.
He's definitely. I think because of what he's done in the past, and he's an absolute legend on and off the field, he will get extra time, won't he?
Yeah.
But there is, and football's a results business. And when he comes into the County Arms and we interview him and we have a long chat with him as well, hopefully he'll agree with this because he's a football man. It's a results business, and if the club have an ambition to get somewhere, and we're not delivering on that ambition, then no one person is bigger than the club, and that's probably where these people get that from. These dissenters that, to me, are doing it on unfound. It's unfounded at the moment, but if that starts to come into it and that starts to creep in, those voices will get louder, won't they?
Yeah. I'm glad you answered that one, guys, because I don't know if it kind of falls on its face on the pitch. Like you say, how long did the board give him? You would hope it gives him. They give him full season, 2 seasons, whatever. But if they're going to go, push comes to shove, then it's unthinkable, isn't it, at the moment? Because you just couldn't imagine it happening.
Yeah, but do you know what, Dave? Right, it is unthinkable, and I was just about to say that it's unthinkable, but it's just as unthinkable as spending a season in the Premier League, isn't it, Nick?
Oh, don't get me started on that again. Well, funnily enough, on Football Manager, we've won the Premier League twice with me
nice,
now,
nice.
And that was the first 2 seasons in the Premier League as well. So I've totally bossed it.
I still haven't got out the Championship yet. It's
We'll
hard.
get there, mate, don't worry.
It's hard.
It's hard, isn't it?
I did it in 4 years. Yeah, I didn't even get a reply to my tweet off to County either. So I wanted a prize. I did it in 4, but nothing.
Are you on, Dave? Are you on the adult version or the kiddie version that Nick's on? Which one are you on?
Well, Nick's on FM Mobile, isn't he?
Yeah, that's it. It's a lot closer to the old Championship Manager 0102 for me, where you get formation and that's it, go away.
I'm using FM Touch, so it's a kind of watered down version of the full game because I haven't got time to play that. It's just a bit of a pain in the arse, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost a middle ground between what I play and what Liz plays.
That's kind of what I was hinting at. Yeah. So I'm not quite a peasant, but I'm not quite a sweaty nerd sat in my mum's spare room.
One day, Dave, you'll win the Champions League like me. Don't worry, mate. It'll happen.
Well, I won't say sweaty nerd, but I do play it quite not as much recently. But I do play the full version. But then I'll have to stop playing that to do my session plans for goalkeeping. So it's kind of yin and yang. I'm involved in the proper game as well as the not so proper game.
As the made up one.
As the made up one, yeah. And I've also just recently downloaded 0102 because that's abandonware now, isn't it?
Yeah,
yes.
Jimison Airplane on Twitter gave me a good shout on that. I think it was. So that's really good. Dead free, and you press spacebar to go faster. You remember that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So is that the 0102 county side?
Yeah, in the Championship.
So that's
Division 1 as it was.
This, and was he still there? No, he wasn't. Oh, no, it's the one where we got about 15 points all season, isn't it? When Palmer.
No, it's
Ardica.
No,
that's it.
A squad full of youngsters.
We had Viss, we had Helene, Brindlegs, and
he's still there then.
Yeah,
because I think Palmer got rid of them all, didn't he? Because they were all on massive wages and not doing a lot.
I'll get you a screen grab. But anyway, so just going back to what we're talking about Jim Gannon.
Jim Gannon, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the team as well, yeah. Yeah, the whole Jim Gannon thing, don't get me wrong, he's an absolute legend. I want him to stay as long as possible, but just for balance, it's that thing, isn't it, about, in this football, because it's a business, and we are being run probably more as a business in the last few months, in the last 4 months, than we ever have been. It'd be interesting to see what that dynamic is and how long that lasts. But for me, yeah, Jim could take us all the way up to the Champions League. I think he's capable, given the right backing.
Well, if I can do it on Football Manager, sat in my underpants, I'm sure Jim can.
Does he have to be sat in his underpants as well, or is that optional?
He can do whatever he wants. He's got carte blanche from me to just do whatever he wants.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah,
he'll get us results.
He's back on Twitter. He's back on Twitter as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he replied to my tweet saying he enjoyed being interviewed by us and stuff like that. Yeah, that was a personal highlight. Yeah, and I noticed he's popped up back on there. I think I'd imagine he's always kept an eye on it, because I'd imagine he'll keep an eye on the players, what they're saying on there and stuff. Or at least someone at the club will be.
Oh yeah, definitely. There will be someone.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, because I think Jim's thing is to not only sign good players, but they tend to be decent human beings as well. Jim's players, so maybe they're not the type of arseholes who'll just be dickheads online. Well, we're not seeing anything like that. So,
did he not sign Benjamin Russell?
No, he didn't. Was that Russell Benjamin? Alan Lord signed him.
Oh, did he? Yeah. What's his name? Russell Benjamin.
Russell Benjamin. Yeah, he went to prison for drug dealing, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, that's right.
He did sign Tess Bramble, though, didn't he?
Yeah, but although to be fair, Tess Bramble as a player did a good job for us. He just happened to be an utterly reprehensible human being.
This has to be a bit.
You can't
a bit of a rapist,
can you? Yeah. Rapey
let's face it, when we become Oldham and we sort of scout the prisons, then that's when I'll start worrying.
Oh my God. Oh, I think that's a brilliant place to leave it, to be honest.
And on that bombshell.
Hey, and on that bombshell.
On that bombshell.
Right, gents, it's been an absolute pleasure.
It has. It's been great to have you on board, Dave. Fantastic, and we'll be hearing and seeing more from you as the weeks and months progress.
Yeah. Cheers, chaps. We really enjoyed it.
Cracking.
And we'll get you down to the County Arms as soon as we're allowed to. As soon as Boris says we're allowed to, we'll sort that out.
Good old Boris.
In the words of Stormzy, fuck the government and fuck Boris, but he is right. I am going to stay indoors until it's safe to go out. In the meantime, folks, get on all the W's, .scarfbergarawar.co.uk for more from us. There's podcasts on there. There's a link to the YouTube. There's Dave's blogs, as we've spoken about before. Get on there, but in the meantime, look after yourselves, look after each other. Make sure you keep washing your hands, because I think a lot of people seem to have forgotten that. And we'll be back soon with another podcast, I would imagine, won't we?
We will. We'll be back soon, very soon. Right, cheers everyone.
Cheers everyone. Ta-ra.
Okay, later. Bye.
Bye.